Hey, what is up you guys, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, yes, you right there, then welcome to my channel, Lynn. So you guys, before I hop into today's video, you guys read the title, wherever you're reading it, above, below, wherever. If you aren't already subscribed to my channel, please make sure to hit the subscribe button, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up, and also make sure to comment down below. Without further ado, if you want to see how I'm going to be making some albóndigas, then continue on watching. So you guys, it's actually currently snowing in Colorado right now. We're literally in like a snowstorm. It started, well, it's been all day today, and then it's gonna keep going until tomorrow. So I've been craving albóndigas. I honestly wanted to make this yesterday, but I'm so glad I waited for today to make it because it's a perfect weather, and I don't know, I just been craving it. I seen my mom post that she had made some, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want some. So I'm gonna be bringing you guys along and showing you guys how I make my albóndigas. I feel like it's kind of how I make them is kind of like how I make my caldo, but instead of chicken or pork, we're gonna be doing it with meatballs, and I do it a little different. So I'm gonna bring you guys along and show you guys how I make my albóndigas, because I know there's a lot of different ways to make it, but this is how I make it. So this is all the ingredients that I have. These are all the seasonings that I'm going to be using, and then these are all the vegetables that I am going to be using as well. We have some zucchini, we have some carrots, onions, tomatoes, ground beef, some celery, we have a husky right here. We have some cilantro, we have corn, we have rice, we have some potatoes, and then moving on to the seasoning part, we have some eggs, we have some minced garlic, a tomato sauce, chipotle peppers, garlic powder, ground black pepper, salt, lawyer seasoning salt, some caldo de tomato, and then caldo de billon, chicken billon, and then some breadcrumbs. So this is basically everything you're going to be needing for this albóndigas recipe. So the first thing I'm going to be doing right off the bat is I'm going to wash my hands. Okay, now that my hands are all washed, the second thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing our meatballs first. So like I mentioned, I got ground beef. Meat is 85% lean, 15%. So I'm going to go ahead and open it on up, and I'm going to throw it on in my bowl that I have right here. Now I'm going to like get it and spread it out just a bit, just so it's not just all in like the chunk. So it doesn't matter what order you actually go in. So I'm gonna add 3 eggs. Also, the ratio I'm making is for 2 people since it's just me and my boyfriend, but also some leftovers will be, you know, there'll be some leftovers as well for either later on or tomorrow. So now I'm going to be just adding a little bit of garlic powder. Honestly, I don't know the exact measurements. I just go by just looking at it. Honestly, I feel like when you cook a lot, you just go by like, you know, just eyeing it, I guess you could say, and then that's when it comes out the really best. But I'm also gonna be adding a little bit of salt as well. I guess you could say it's to your liking. Even though it's raw meat, you can't just taste it, but I will say maybe like teaspoons, maybe like, you know, Lawry's seasoning salt as well. I'm gonna be adding some breadcrumbs. These are the breadcrumbs that I'm using. I add a lot of breadcrumbs just because that's like, you know, what I like my meatballs really crunchy. It's gonna give it a lot of flavor. Then I'm going to add some minced garlic. Now this I am gonna actually do a tablespoon of. So about that much. And now I'm going to add my rice. And the rice as well, I do add a lot just because I love the texture the rice gives it. So I'm pretty much gonna cover it. And this is how the bowl is looking with everything. I just wanna crack the egg like this, and then I'm gonna go in actually with my hands. So now I'm going in with my hands and I'm mixing it all up. You're gonna wanna keep mixing it until it kinda gets like, not a dry texture, but not really wet. Like the egg does make it really wet. Okay, now I like the texture. It's not as wet and stuff. So now I'm gonna actually rinse off my hands once again. You're gonna have a lot of hand washing in this process, you guys. So now what I like to do after it's looking like this, I'm gonna go ahead and add my black pepper. I'm also gonna mix it again, you guys, so don't worry, because now I add the cilantro and the onion. So I'm gonna put my meat aside, and then now I'm going to cut the onion and cilantro. I'm gonna wash off the cilantro. I'm gonna cut the onion in half because we're gonna be using half and half. So now for my cilantro, I'm gonna just cut it. Your goal is to get it as small as possible. Be very careful. You don't want to cut yourself. Okay, now that my cilantro is pretty diced up, I'm gonna add just a little bit in the meatballs and cutting my cebolla. Cut them to your liking. This is just how I do it. So that's how much onion I'm going to be adding in my meatballs. So now that I washed my hands and moved that out the way, this is how it's going to look. And we're going to go in once again and we're going to mix it all up in together. So now I'm going to be putting my meatballs together. I'm doing them, I would call it medium size, not really like on the smaller size, just because it is 2 people I'm making this for, well, myself and my boyfriend, so I don't need, like, you know, a lot of meatballs. And there you have it, you guys. These are all the meatballs. I did some big, some small, just, you know, the ratio it's there. Okay, now with our meatballs, I'm gonna just slide them over here because now we're going to get ready for the actual sauce. So yeah, I just wanted to get the meatballs done and knocked out the way, just because I feel like it's the messiest, and now everything else we're gonna do is gonna be really quick and steady. Okay guys, as you can see, I have my meatballs right here. I got my other cutting board, so I'm gonna be using the tomatoes. Make sure you wash them. And then remember the onion I said to save, we have it right here. Oh, this is actually pretty much everything we're gonna be putting, blending together and then putting in the pot to boil. So I have my chipotle peppers, my chicken bouillon, and then the tomato bouillon. So with these tomatoes, I'm just gonna be cutting them, make it in smaller little pieces. So you guys, I actually still don't have a blender. I'm gonna be using my NutriBullet. Honestly, it gets the job done. So I'm going to be adding in my onions and tomatoes that you just seen me chop up. I'm gonna add that much just because I don't want it too tomatoey. And then I'm gonna go in with my chipotle peppers and I'm going to be adding them in as well. I'm gonna add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 7. I'm gonna do 7, you guys, because I like it spicy. I'm gonna add some of the sauce in as well. So I'm gonna also add water and fill it up to the top. So that's how it looks, you guys. I'm also gonna be adding 5 cups of normal water in this in my actual pot. So you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and add my sauce. Water does look like this. It's like half of a half ways. I'm going to be adding some caldo de tomato. And like I said, this is just by eye as well. But since this is actual, like, you know, broth, you can go ahead and taste it. Then I'm gonna be adding some caldo de pollo, my favorite. I feel like this literally makes any and everything taste so freaking good. And like I said, since this is the broth, you can taste it, so then you can, you know, go as you add. And like I always mention, make sure you don't add too much, because if you add too much, you can never go backwards. But if you add little and work your way up, you can always, you know, work your way up if you add less than more, because less is more at the end of the day. But not when it comes to cooking, because baby, we love seasoning over here. So now I'm gonna taste some. So now I'm gonna actually taste some. Oh my gosh, it tastes so freaking good, you guys. I'm gonna add some more chicken bouillon. Okay guys, so there it is, the broth. I'm gonna let this go on 7 heat. We're gonna let it like boil on up, and then I'm gonna throw my meatballs. But now we're gonna head back over here to the chopping board, because we're gonna chop up on everything we're gonna be adding into the broth. Okay guys, so I went ahead and I washed everything up, and I also did skin the carrots. So now we're gonna chop everything on up. I also have corn that I'm gonna cut up last though. So I'm going to go ahead and chop up my zucchini. I went ahead and got 2. I don't know if I'm gonna use the full 2. Yeah, I'm probably not gonna use the full 2, just because this is a lot already. Next, I'm gonna chop up my celery. This is another thing you can add if you want or not. I'm gonna chop it up into small pieces as well. Okay, now I'm gonna go on to my carrots. Now I'm gonna go ahead and chop my potatoes, and I am gonna be leaving them as is with the skin on. If you want, you can skin them and not have the skin on, but me, I'm gonna keep the skin on. Also, you can make them as small or big as you want. I'm making them pretty big, just because I love potatoes. Okay, really quick, we're gonna move on to the broth because it is boiling now. So I am going to add my meatballs in now. So now that my meatballs are added, I'm actually gonna put a lid on and we're gonna let it boil 15 to 20 minutes before we actually add everything on in. So you guys, these are how the meatballs are looking. They're almost done, not completely done yet, but it's been 16 minutes. So I think it's been a little more than 16 minutes, but I'm going to go ahead and put that right there. I'm gonna go ahead and add the corn first. I'm gonna chop it up and then add that first, just because the corn is the second thing that's gonna take the longest. Okay guys, so it is boiling on up. Now I'm going to go ahead and add everything else in. Okay guys, so I'm actually gonna put the potatoes first, and then we're gonna put everything else in. Actually, I'm gonna do the potatoes and the carrots just because those are gonna take longer than the zucchini and celery to boil. Okay guys, so it has been boiling for a while right now. I just checked the papas and they are almost about to be done. So now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to add in the zucchini. Oh my gosh, they're all stuck together. I burned myself. So I'm gonna go ahead and add in the zucchini now, and then along with the celery. So just make sure you're constantly checking on it. And yeah, you guys, so I'm gonna do a taste test once it's done. So I'll see you guys in about 10 to 15 minutes. So like I said, just make sure you're constantly checking on it. So you guys, I have my caldo de albóndigas right here. I also have my boyfriend right here because he's gonna help me test it. You guys, it's, when I say it's so freaking good, I tasted just the water and a little bit of potato because I wanted to make sure like it was completely like done and stuff. So we could taste it at the same time. So you haven't tasted nothing, so we're gonna taste it. Look at how delicious it looks, you guys.
It's hot.
I know it's fresh. So I'm gonna go ahead and taste it. It's so steamy, you guys. Steamy. Let's taste it at the same time. Okay, cheers.
That were new.
It's so good, you guys. I cannot make this stuff up. It's really good, huh, babe?
Yeah, it's good to see.
The broth tastes so freaking good, you guys. I love the texture of it too. Here, I'm gonna try some of the meatball. Oh my gosh, my favorite is the meatball. You guys, this is so freaking good. So you guys, if you guys end up making a recipe in particular, please make sure to tag me on my Instagram so I could repost you on my story. And that being said, I hope you guys stay warm, especially if you live in Colorado. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video right here. I hope you guys really enjoyed cooking with me, and until next video, I hope you guys remember to stay classy, never trashy, just a little nasty. Chris, we loves you. Bye.